Welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate, where we will help empower and educate you on many different aspects of real estate, finance, and investing. Each week, we will expand your knowledge and uncover hidden truths. We will break down real-world scenarios and study actual how-to strategies. Anyone can buy real estate, but together we'll ensure you make smart real estate investment decisions. Now, here's your host, award-winning author, international speaker, and real estate educator, Lisa Gillett.
Happy Wednesday, beautiful people. Man, it's been a while. Yes, it's to my fault. I had to come on today because the market has been doing some interesting things and causing people to be all wacky. And I just thought I'd share what's happening offline and behind the scenes. I trust everyone as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hi, say hello, drop a comment down below. Let me know you're here. Press 1, let me know you're here. Press 2, lets me know you shared it. And sharing is caring. How have you all been? I trust summer has been going great for some of you. And if you're off and you've got vacation and all that good stuff you get to enjoy during the summer season, it's like my son thinks when he's on vacation that also means I'm on vacation. Not quite yet, son. I'm we're working on it. We're working on it. He's like, what are we going to do today? And I'm like, today I'm going to work. Today I'm going to work out. Today I'm going to read. Today. But we have definitely found time with the kids, which I feel really great about. I keep saying and sharing that it has been the best decision that I've made for us this summer was not to enroll in summer activities for the kids, especially coming out of the school year. Lathan, as you all know, has graduated. Super proud of him. And he's starting high school. And he didn't do swim this summer. We thought he was going to continue to do swim and be part of the swim team. But he's saving that. He'll hold that and check that out for high school, which we're very excited about. And we didn't do any of the tech camps for our youngest two. So that it's easy. It's easy. And as you all know, I decided to take a much needed mental health break after finishing law school and then jumping into studying and preparing for the bar exam next year. So this for me was like a really grown-up decision to not have to constantly be doing something and not defining myself as a human doing and just as a human being. I am just being this summer and it feels so good. I've been able to sleep in and it's just been great. And I just really think it's also because I've been able to be clear about the quality of work, environment, clients, and people that I want to serve. And I'm so happy that is what I'm magnetizing. And I'm connecting with really great people, great clients that you just want to I'm so excited, right? I love that because I've said this last week. I love this business, or 2 weeks ago. I think it's been 2 weeks since the last show. And I've said, I love this business. I love this business. But what I think I'm conveying is getting to a space and place where I'm enjoying the people that I get to serve because they value, respect me. And I like to say they happily pay me, right? With that being said, listen, we are on episode 260 show strongs here on the platform Ready, Set, Real Estate. And thank you all who have been just supporting my being here and showing up, and even the breaks and the times that I've gone dark to give myself break, which was a lot this last, year and a half, you guys, that I was not as consistent with showing up. But there's tons of episodes that you can revisit, and some things have changed, some things have not. And one of the things that we do know about real estate that is a constant is that real estate fluctuates. There is the up and the down, the highs and the lows. And right now, I've been reading tons of articles. So before I jump into all that, let me just get into who the heck, right? Some of you may be new to me, and welcome. So say hi. Like I said, hi, hello. My name's Lisa Gillett, also known as Lisa Puerto. You'll see some of the previous authored books in my maiden name, Puerto. As I was discussing taking a break, I am starting to tinker around with finishing one of our Real Estate 100 book series. So I will be launching and coming out with the next series, which is the Teen and Millennial uh, not land development. And I think that will be timely as we kind of talk about the market. So I'm really excited about that. However, let me get back into introducing myself. So, yes, I'm an active real estate broker professional, also known as super agent, your one and only. Just out here helping folks and saving folks. You wouldn't believe the phone calls I get, but I appreciate it because I love it. I love what I do, and it's constantly learning in this business. I refer to client who's currently working, just keeping me in the loop of the process of him having, and I think I could do a whole show segment about this. So he let someone borrow some money. He secured that money with the property. So he's a lien holder, and that person has defaulted, and now he's got to go through the unfortunate and ugly process of almost what a repossession is what, we call it. So in our industry, it's the pre-foreclosure process and getting that individual to pay the debt. Hey, you owe me some money and some interest. So pay me or I'll foreclose on the property. I'll get the property back as collateral, and then I'll sell it. So I'll do a whole episode and a segment about that, because let me put my phone on vibrate. I'll do an episode on that for those of you who are thinking about doing promissory notes and investing and just that kind of thing. Definitely not here giving you legal advice, but definitely want to get the advice of an attorney and a good, real estate team, title, brokers, and all that stuff involved when you're doing that. With that being said, also I'm the owner of our boutique firm here in Southern California, Devenio Estates. I'm a pricing strategy advisor, short sale and foreclosure certified, probate experienced, and also I hold a seniors real estate specialist designation provided by the association. And all that means is I stay active in continuing education and learning and training while master teacher, master student is what I think will forever be my role. Shout out to Siddiqui for that. Just always being in that position and always being that person of learning, right? You teach, you learn, and when you're teaching, you learn more about the topics that you are teaching on, which I've learned so much when I do my research and I come back and I share that with you, added with experience. It's like, like it clicks. So a little bit about me. With that being said, I did mention about legal advice with something that I was touching on. So let's just do that disclaimer real quick before we jump into a show sponsor. And then I'll jump into it's almost a rant today about market tensions. But I do want to share that the information provided on this show should not be considered legal or tax advice. Please seek those legal and licensed, reputable professionals, right? Please seek legal and tax advice from reputable licensed professionals. That's a tongue twister. Blah, 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 blah. Get help from professionals regarding your situation. Don't say Lisa said. She said on her very famous real estate podcast that I should do this. No. Lisa didn't say that. That's not what I said. So definitely get with a team of professionals. I really come on here for edutainment, right? It's entertaining and educating at the same time. And that's how you gotta share it with the folks, with the masses. Is it wrapped up in fun and educate and wrap up education and fun, and it sticks better that way. So boom, like I said, 260 episodes strong, talking about market tension, seller and buyer stalemate. If you've been active in this industry this year, not even active, you don't necessarily, you could just read headlines, news, blogs, the radio, hear it on various podcasts, friends, families will just talk to you about of what's happening with the market. And I want to kind of bring you behind the scenes of how that's affecting everybody, not just buyers and sellers. But what I'm also finding is that agents are also at odds with each other. So there's a couple things that, is fueling that, and I'm going to get into that shortly. But before I do that, I want to come back after. Hello, sponsor break. Gotta give some love to our folks. So today's show sponsor is...
We know how challenging it can be to try and sell a home while also dealing with other financial and legal matters. We're here to help. Devenio Estates is the real estate firm you need to make sure your unique situation is handled as quickly and efficiently as possible. Our team of professionals has a combined experience of over 30 years in real estate, construction, and finance industries. As active professionals in the industry, we know the importance of timelines and pride ourselves in providing superior service without compromising integrity. We use industry software and copyrighted proposals so that our real estate agents submit accurate and complete listing information and buyer offers. Our goal is to exceed your expectations and set Devenio Estates as the go-to real estate firm for excellence in advocacy and superior services for our clients. Contact us today to learn more about our services.
Welcome back. Thank you. A little shameless plug there. But lets you know we're active, we're helping folks, and we're still pushing strong despite market conditions. So what I'm dropping here in our comments, because I'm going to use our comments in our chat box as a place for me to take notes. And I want to just talk about and cover as we're discussing market conditions and this stalemate, seller and buyer stalemate. So what's causing it? What's causing it? Number one, interest rates. Rising rates are making mortgages more expensive, causing potential buyers to think twice before committing. So here you have rates that are high in today's market, today's time. And I want to use the terms relatively high. And that's because I'm noticing all these like cool features with this platform. There's so much, podcasting has just gone to another level, which is so interesting. And they just make it so much easier to have you all do all these cool things. So this is me just while I'm also on the show, I'm looking at all the stuff behind the scenes on this dashboard that I can play around with. And I'm just like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. While I say that, speaking of that, right? I also want to remind you all, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, just so that we are growing our presence on YouTube as well. Okay, so back to what I was saying. We essentially have a couple things that's affecting our market conditions, and rates being one of them. Rates are, as you know, I think I read this morning, not that I think I read, but I know I read this morning that rates were 6.8 and 6.8 when they last checked. What's happening today, and this is a good segue in terms of inflation, a good segue. So between yesterday and today, the Federal Reserve Committee has been meeting. So yesterday and today, and they will have been discussing whether they will be cutting rates. And from those who are projecting based on market conditions, they're saying not likely for Powell to cut the rates because they're still monitoring employment and inflation, and how the market is responding to tariffs and the other fiscal policy or monetary policies that have been put into effect. So that's the second thing that's got this market being wacky, is inflation. So with inflation affecting everything from groceries to gasoline, buyers have less disposable income to allocate towards home purchases. And you'll see that, right? You may also be someone that's experiencing the same, that you're kind of you're very discretionary right now of what you're willing to spend on, you know, probably not going out as much, not going out to eat as much, second guessing if you really need to make that quick run and that turnaround trip. And definitely as that relates to job market. So as I was hearing this morning, as they were giving the quarterly reports on the job market, they're saying though employment has gone up, they said the reports are in fact showing that it is harder and tougher to get employment. So that's another thing that's putting a squeeze on the economy. And add that to the fuel of the geopolitical environment that we're in, we've got a nice little gumbo of things happening. The third thing that's affecting market conditions and affecting market or creating market tensions between our seller and buyers is the overall economic uncertainty, which I mentioned about the geopolitical environment. So concerns about economic stability are leading to cautious spending and further complicating the market dynamics. And essentially what we're seeing is folks are like not willing to commit or jump in, because we're talking about anywhere from 15 to 30-year mortgages, and those who are existing homeowners and need to manage and make those payments more manageable. If you don't know already, and share this with someone who needs to know this, that you can refi into a 40-year mortgage to make those payments a little bit more comfortable. So if you're in it for the long game, that might be something you're willing to consider. While also, as full disclosure, I'm not a loan officer or mortgage consultant, so definitely consult with one to see what your options are and what the best plan of action works for you. Especially when we talk about property preservation. We've done episodes on property preservation. Our approach at our firm is, when we are consulted with somebody, is to discuss property preservation first. What is it can you do to keep that property before you sell it? So it's not immediately, unless someone is very clear. And in the arena that I love and enjoy working in is probate and trust sales. Those are usually, by way of the will, trust, or court order, properties need to be sold. And so that's a different market, submarket in itself, that where we're not necessarily having conversations of property preservation because heirs want their share of the inheritance. But with that being said, definitely look into those options as we're dealing with economic uncertainty. All right. With that being said, I want to share this little story with you. I've got some clients I'm working with, and I just feel like it's really interesting that, and this is what really brought this on, is that someone felt very comfortable and entitled to tell me about my client, not knowing who my client is. And this is over a property discussion. So the story goes like this. They submitted an offer on one of our lots, and their offer was submitted about 2 months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, but it's been some time. Clearly, the market has changed since then, and they wanted to follow up, which I always encourage. That's a strategy in itself, that just because you didn't get your offer accepted at that time, if you're an active buyer, especially as the market is doing what it's doing right now, hey, don't hesitate to circle back and revisit price, revisit the terms. So I get a phone call and they say, hey, we're still interested. We see you're still in the market. And I said, yeah, we've been getting offers and not entertaining any of those offers. And this is a lot of my clients. A lot of my clients are seller clients are not entertaining offers. And same with, so when I'm on the other side, which is what I love right now, is this goes both ways. So I'm working with sellers and I'm working with buyers. My sellers are not, they've done some price improvements, meaning they've come down in price from their original asking price. And then it becomes a slippery slope where now you've got to be careful that you're now chasing the market, right? Because you keep missing, you're missing where market conditions are reflecting the price that you want to get. And maybe you're missing it and you're now chasing the market. And some sellers just don't want to do that. And they are entitled. Listen, they are entitled to feel that way. They don't need to necessarily, especially if they don't have to, they don't need to sell their property at anything other than a price they are comfortable with selling it for. Can I say that again for the people in the back? Sellers, unless they are ordered, unless they're obligated, unless they're in the business of flipping and investing and they've got to keep pumping it out and moving and on to the next, or there's some court order involved, like I said, trust and will sales, probate sales, or short sale, foreclosure. Those are instances, right? Death. We've talked about it, death and being desperate. Those are going to be two reasons. Oftentimes, death, and divorce. Those are three reasons people will oftentimes sell, and they need to sell, and they're open to negotiating prices so they can move on. Not everybody in the market is in that position. And so where it blows my mind is when I get phone calls where someone is trying to tell me about my client or tell me how to do my job without realizing or taking into consideration that people are not obligated to sell their properties at a price other than what they're comfortable for. So story time, I get this message and I want to make sure I didn't include their phone number. Telling all the business a day. This is how I'm feeling today. So I get this message from an agent. We're having this conversation, and yes, I hung up after I said, so he's going off and he keeps going off because I'm not agreeing to his price. And he's going off on me. And I said, please, I said, we can negotiate. We're aware of that. He's going into the cost of labor is high, the immigration, the tariffs, the politics, the this, that, and the third, and giving me his woe is me story. That may work for some folks, but I don't consider that a negotiation strategy. Would you? Do you think the woe is me is poor me, and this is why I can't pay you this much? Do you consider that a negotiation strategy? Is if you're sharing your sob story to someone in order to manipulate what you get? Hey, you might say that. If it worked, it reinforces your behavior. That's what I think is happening with this particular agent. He's not even an agent. He's trying to put this deal together as an assignment. So assignment folks are characters. So we're getting a lot of assignments, a lot of deals. A lot of people are out here trying to assign deals. I don't necessarily deal with them again because of my particular sellers and properties. We require full transparency. And I'm straight up about that. I need to know who my buyer is, beginning, during, and end. I'm concerned if in the middle of the transaction, I got another buyer. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What are you doing here? Right? So other states, and what we call that is wholesaling. That's the term for wholesaling. So we're getting a lot of this right now, a lot of phone calls. He goes off. I say, hey, I'm going to hang up. I said, first of all, I said, it looks like that we cannot come to terms on the price. It looks like you'll have to pass. This property's not for you. It's okay. That inflamed him. That enraged him. And he starts going off. And I said, listen, I don't need to hear the story. And he says, but you're not letting me talk. And I said, I did, because I've heard you. We're not going to agree to this, and we're moving on. I said, I'm going to hang up. And he's talking. I said, I'm going to hang up. He's talking. I said, bye now. Click. I hang up. Oh, that wasn't enough for him. He had to text me. See, text messages give people, they just empower people, right? Because someone hangs up and now they could still unload on you. And it's a good thing. I had already had my workout. I had already was in a meditative space. I was like in a place of peace that I was like, I am not here for this today. I'm not going to deal with this. But I thought I'd share this with you in the background. Oftentimes people feel like us as agents, like, what is it that you do? You just open doors. No, we just don't open doors. We take the heat for a lot of our clients when the going gets tough. And here's an example of the heat that I had to take, not only verbally, but then I'm getting these text messages in the name of negotiation. So he says, why did you take it personal? And you asked for politeness and you hung up. Shows a lot of professionalism on your end, Lisa. It's not your property. You are just the negotiator, and that's it. And she is delusional big time. She being my seller. When you have your hands full with and can't do anything with that property, call me. But I'm not going to be generous on my offer. I'll stick with market conditions. What I find fascinating about his mentality is that he thinks he's the only investor in California. Do you know how many investors I have that I've called, that we've negotiated? I negotiate regularly with investors, which is why I'm not opposed to lowball offers. I don't get offended. It's because it's numbers. I find it very classic and funny that he's telling me it's not my property. You're just the negotiator. But here's what I responded. You don't get to name call clients and call it negotiating. That is not what you're going to do on the phone with me. That's not what you're going to do. You don't know, folks. He took offense and he says, oh, people are so sensitive and I've been doing it for 40 years. People, we're negotiating. No, we're not negotiating. You're name calling. And you think by being aggressive and name calling my clients that you don't know is actually going to persuade me to go and convince my client that you are right. That, my friends, is not negotiating. So I say to him, you don't get to name call clients and call it negotiating. Thank you for your interest. But it's clear your price, estimated $650,000 or less, is not what she's open to consider at this time. All the best. It cost me nothing. Oops, scared me. It cost me nothing to take the call, to respond, attempt negotiations for the last couple weeks, because we've been at this for some weeks. And if we've only been at this for some weeks is because he's trying to do an assignment deal. He disappears, he comes back, he disappears, comes back. Who are you talking to, right? But let me also share this, which is what I love. I also talked about my client wasn't willing to pay commissions for them, for their buyer, for their agent, which would be him and someone else. However they're going to split the money, right? So hold on. Let me mess with this light right here. Okay, cool. So here's what's funny about this is he's expecting me to convince my client of his number. Not going to happen, not going to work. Okay. I present all offers. We're obligated to do that. By the way, for people in the back, if you're a licensee professional, you're an agent, you're a real estate professional, and more so if you are calling yourself a realtor and you are part of the organization, you are part of the association, there's a thing called Code of Ethics that you're bound by that says you're obligated to present the offers You don't get to say what's a waste of time. And I don't know why agents keep saying this. Oh, it's a waste of time. I'm not even going to show my client. You are in violation of the code of ethics. You don't get to say that, people. You don't get to determine that. What you are opening yourself up is possibly for a fair housing lawsuit, because someone may take that as a discriminatory practice that for whatever reason, they can name it. They can name many: sex, gender, religion. I have children. I have a invisible disability. I have a disability of some sort. Whatever reason they can get an attorney to come up with and wrap that around a lawsuit for the reason that you didn't present an offer because you said it was a waste of time. I suggest you talk to your broker and in-house counsel. Stop saying that to people in text messages, that you're not presenting offers because they're a waste of time, because it's too low, because you're going to find yourself into some really legal hot water. That's why there's code of ethics. That's why there's rules to this. We just thought it was professional courtesy to say, oh, just respond and text back. I take all phone calls all the time. And for those of you who are in this business who don't answer the phone and don't text and email, thank you. Thank you. You're making a lot more easy and a lot of the business to come this way, because you're not doing something simple as providing customer service, which you've been hired to do. You are representing your clients. You are providing customer service to third parties and cooperating brokers and agents. Can you tell I'm feeling some kind of way? Because this has been happening. This has been going on. This is what's happening in this market tensions right now. This is what's going on for months. Folks are getting all worked up. They're all worked up, and everyone's trying to tell the next person how to do their job. So let's continue with our story. So I say all the best. He responds back and says, not at this time, until she comes down to earth. Otherwise, I'm seeing that property active for another 200 days or so in the market. You can list a property for sale and at a price that will sell, or you can brag about it being on the market forever and never will be sold. Your job is to put her feet on the ground, in my opinion. Otherwise, you'll be losing time and money as you're doing now with 200 days on the market. And don't take this personal. I am the type of person that tells the truth, and 99% of the people around earth have issues with honesty and people that speaks their mind. Oh boy, he's having a day. He wanted to tell me how he's so honest, and this is his moral code and how to do my job, and that I'm wasting time and money. So here's what he's missing and what folks don't realize. I'm not wasting time and money, because when we market properties, it is the nature of our business that in marketing those properties, we are also generating leads or new business from prospective buyers and or potential sellers who would be interested in also seeing what their property is worth based on the property you may have listed in their neighborhoods. You have buyers who may be passing by and are interested in purchasing a property in that area, or if not that area, somewhere else. So those are the small-minded conversations, as you see here, that he wanted to convince me, but apparently he doesn't get the whole picture. For someone who's been in this business for 40 years, has probably missed out on a lot of business. And he's likely doing assignment deals is because once upon a time he was a licensee and he did something that he had to that caused the DRE, Department of Real Estate, to revoke his license. And in that revocation, you no longer get to actively sell and buy real estate because you were caught with your cookie in the jar and doing something you shouldn't have been doing. And now you're out here doing assignment deals and trying to also maintain a living doing what you know how to do. I'm not knocking the next person, but for 40 years, and this is what you've been doing, but you're not a licensee, and you're talking to me as if you actually have any influence or pull to sway me otherwise. definitely not yelling at me over the phone or name calling clients. That's not going to get me to do anything. That's not how that works. So you see, folks, this is what's happening in our current market. And I just wanted to share with you, check on your agents. Check on your agents. Ask them if they had some water. Did you eat today? Because the tensions that we're feeling right now, that sellers and buyers and we're at each other's necks. So it's refreshing when you can close a deal, which I did. And I shout out to the agent that we worked with. He was a military vet. And I felt like because he's in the military, he's probably been at war, deployed, and that he has a different perspective on life. He was super cool and super easy, super chill as a seller's agent, working with my buyer and myself to get through a transaction to help our clients. So it's always refreshing, right? Because on the other side, I think agents and other people are watching these real estate shows and think the tactics and the things they're showing you on TV, it's scripted. That's TV, people. That's not real life. You can't get on the phone and call me and talk to me anyway and think that you're going to get anything done. No. No. Let's realize that if you are in your market, your local market is so big that only so big, you're going to run across agents again and again, especially active agents. You know how that is, right? It's the small percentage of agents that is doing the bulk of the business, and you're going to run into each other. So as we're dealing with seller and buyer stalemates, where sellers not willing to come down and buyers are not willing to pay that price, because it's for those reasons that we talked about: interest rates, inflation, and economic uncertainty that's fueling this. And until we find a median, a happy space in place with all this, we're going to see an improvement in our market. But here's what I will say to those buyers who have not jumped in yet, and you're on the sidelines. And I keep saying this, and I've said this many episodes ago, that you are all on the fence. And when market rates come down, you're all going to jump in, and you'll all be you'll be bidding in multiple bids against each other, rather than taking the advantage and opportunity now, if you can, right? I say buy when it makes financial sense for you. If you can, as a buyer, if it makes financial sense to jump in the market now, sellers are more apt to helping with closing costs, paying, buying down rates for you, because that has to come from the seller or a third party, can't come from the buyer. Per the loan guidelines. There are down payment assistant programs and money. There's tons of money right now they're trying to, infuse money into the economy in the market right now. And housing, real estate does that. When you buy property, you then go buy furniture, dishwasher, not dishwasher, or if you don't have one, then you go buy a stove, you buy a refrigerator, you go buy a sofa, you then go buy, all this accessories and the things that you need for your home, your bed set. You then are employing gardeners, and you're employing other handy persons, and you have insurance. This economy, especially in California, as one of those states that also leads the rest of the world, is fueled by real estate. It keeps the world going around. Is what I have to say. And I'll end on that note. All right, guys. You guys have all been fantastic. Thanks for listening to my rant and my vent, allowing me to come and share with you. Go check on your agent today, because it's rough out here. Because that means that if we're at a stalemate, that means the pay cycles are getting longer. Closing deals are not happening as often and as quickly and as much, right? So go check on your folks, right? Go check on our folks and make sure they're okay. Because it's getting heated. It is heated. It is heated, as you can see. And despite all of it, I love it. I live for this. If anyone knows me, you know how I take those calls, and you know how I handle text messages and emails. listen, I say to folks when people are like, oh, I'm not the one. No, I say I am. I am the one. That's why I'm super agent. All right, you guys, have a fantastic and productive week. We'll see you next week with another powerful information-packed episode right here. Same place, same channel. Take care. Bye for now. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ready Set Real Estate Podcast with Lisa Gillett, the LA Super Agent.